Well, remote work might be a part of your future, planned or unplanned, or maybe you are there as it is today. In this Success with People live cast, we want to look at maintaining team synergy in a remote work environment, or if you're a part of a virtual team, this live cast is for you. So, what is the context? The context is that we really do not know if we will be engaged in remote work. Pre-COVID, many of us didn't think that we would be comfortable working from home. Well, maybe I don't know if you say comfortable or whether you would be there or not. And so the technology has enabled us to move beyond geographical borders or even walls, walls of a building. But it also requires a significant level of flexibility, of being able to adapt to the changing environment. And so that has been a challenge. In the companion newsletter, I raised the point that I remember years ago, a client came to me and, a team leader, and she was saying, hey, I'm in a crisis. How do I maintain? I've invested a lot and I've got my team to a place where we were meshed, really closely knit. And now I fear that this remote working from home is going to destroy all of the synergy that we have built up. And so that's our discourse in this 30 to 35-minute session. So stay, please, and don't be distracted. Just focus a little while because I'm going to be pushing content that is of value to you in this short live class. So yeah, the whole idea then is how do we maintain or pursue synergy despite the distance, despite the separation? And these truths, I call them statements here, but they are real, to me, facts, would be the sort of backdrop that would guide our discourse. And the first one is that team synergy fuels collaboration, innovation, and success. That's a fact. When people are tightly knit and so on, creativity flourishes, willingness to collaborate flourishes, and as a result, the high performance is possible. Also, teams that are well knit and are thriving actually can transcend the physical boundaries. As a matter of fact, to be honest, they transcend even when you're gone. I have teammates from many jobs back. So it's not only transcend the walls, it also transcends the working environment and so on. So that's part of it. And then, of course, is it possible? Is it possible that virtual teams could also have high levels of synergy? Yes, but it requires intentional effort. And it is that goal to provide you with guidance as to how you can channel those efforts in order to achieve synergy in remote working environments or in virtual teams. That's my goal today. I'm Trevor E.S. Smith, and I'm with the Success with People Academy. So, leveraging technology, clearly, because it is technology that has spawned this possibility of remote work and virtual teams, etc. And so we need to use the technology as an enabler. Yeah? And so things like using what I'm doing today, using Zoom or Teams, or really literally a couple of decades ago, I was just trying to remember the name of the first of these solutions that I was using at the time when people were saying, you cannot train online, you cannot have meetings online, they're not effective. I still can't remember the name, but it was good. And then, of course, Zoom came, took over, etc. So that's like literally 2 decades ago. So the idea, though, is to use the technology to check in and to have virtual meetings. I'm going to talk about those meetings, though, of course, for brainstorming. The idea is to keep your pulse on the fingers of all the remote team members, but still want to stimulate healthy and energized interconnection. Right. So what is important is that we get to a place where team members feel comfortable to share. Um, what can happen is that there can be a reluctance to share online, or to be open. Well, it happens face to face as well. As a matter of fact, in my view, it is harder to hide in an online meeting than in a face-to-face meeting. Yeah, because it stands out. It just comes across that I haven't heard from so and so. Whereas, a lot of activities going on in the face-to-face that I could just quietly not say anything. So, to me, that is my experience: is that it is easier to identify silent um, members in meetings, right? So, but you want to create in every environment openness and trust, and uh, so that together you can achieve things. However, let me just emphasize this right up front. There is a temptation to say, because we're not seeing each other physically, then let us pour on more meetings. Let us have more connections. Let us have people on camera some more so that we can keep the vibes going. No, no, that is a bad, bad decision. Went down the wrong path. Let me say why. The benefits, one of the great benefits of remote work is that you get the opportunity to be mindful. In other words, you're going to work to your schedule. You're not stop. You're not always hurried, going all around and people coming by, etc. You have a time to step back. You went to work an hour earlier in order to get something done, or stayed an hour later to get something done. That's what remote work gives you, that kind of space where there's no distraction. You can just be in a moment where you can give serious thought to things. As a matter of fact, in face-to-face meetings, you're there and you quick, somebody put up their hand and you put up yours and you spout something because the meeting is in a finite time. In a remote work environment, you can comment having given them other thought. And so you get a lot deeper, lot more intelligent participation if you allow. And so for me, if there's one word that you would take away from our discourse, is asynchronous, asynchronous as against having these meetings, where everybody has to be in the same. Gives people space. Give people space to contribute. So you're saying, how can you have a meeting? You could actually have threads. You have a discussion thread, and the person can come and see what others have contributed and say, okay, fine, I hear what Trevor said there. I support it. However, here's a nuance that I'd like to add to it. And so you're going to get intelligent, deep thought in the dialogue. It doesn't have to be all together on camera where people are, stressed out. So that's a big, big difference. All right, here's the other one. Going deep today. And I just want you to be with me. You might not take it on board, but at least hear what I'm saying, because I believe what I'm sharing today will make a difference to virtual teams and working remotely. And it might happen to you now or in the future, So here's the other one. For me, remote work is similar to working with customers. Remote work is similar to working with customers. As a matter of fact, that's a truism, because when we talk about customer service, we talk about external and internal customers. Right? So what a remote working environment for me demonstrates, or it's very similar to the idea of working with external customers. So your person that used to sit beside you is now in a remote environment, and we have this virtual team. So now they have more of an appearance of an external customer. Okay, how do we treat external customers? What are we supposed to do? As a matter of fact, if you're in a financial environment, the law says KYC, know your customer. And that to me is the heart of successful remote environments or virtual teams. Know your customer. You have to get to know your colleagues very, very well. Very, very well. Let me tell you why. If we are in a face to face environment, we have a safety net. So I can say something to John, and in a flash, it upset him, but he knows that he doesn't want to spoil the relationship. So there's a then he smiles afterwards. But you are there, and you quickly saw that hurt or that upset before. That's the kind of safety net. Or you have time around so you can see what's happening to him. He goes back to his desk and he's not so comfortable, or he's all right. So you have that kind of possibility of fixing things that went wrong. It's not so easy when the person is remote, right? So as a result of that, you have to make sure you get it right the first time. And the way to do that is to understand them. What are their preferences? How do they want to receive information, give information, all of those kind of things. And, we don't, in these live classes, that we're not heavy in terms of commercializing and selling products, etc. But in this instance, it's critical. You need to do a behavioral assessment so they get the granular information, because you don't have the time. So with a customer, you can wait and see, the interaction over time, and can finally say, oh, okay, that's what he wants or what she wants. You don't have that time. So you really want to start out right away by saying, yes, I understand Trevor. I know he prefers this style or that style. This is how he's going to communicate. This is how he wants to interact. Those are things that we start with right up front. And I'm just suggesting, I'm not, you can choose the behavioral assessment you want, but do a good one. I just want to put this on the table, though, is that we extended this with the Revolutionary Things platform has created a remote worker assessment. In other words, how would this individual navigate with remote work environment? But not only that, it provides a workbook now that links the person's assessment to, if you would want to call it, best practices in a remote environment. So basically, that's the idea. The idea is that you get some kind of assessment, even if you don't do the remote one, have some assessment where you have a deeper understanding right up front of how individuals prefer to interact, or they prefer to get information, or to prefer to give information, all of those things. So they're going to receive feedback. Get that done, whatever the brand, whatever the assessment. But don't try to sort it out over time. By that time, you have lost this energy. By that time, you start to have issues with the team dynamics. So that's just a suggestion. Right? And let's do that. By the way, if you want to explore the remote workout sales study and workbook, you can just go to extendedthissolutions.org, right? Extendedthissolutions.org, and you can sort through. If you just go through the workforce productivity solutions, you will find the remote worker. Yeah? So you might just have to drill down a little bit to find it. But it's extendedthissolutions, one word, .org. And then you can go to the workforce productivity solution side, so that you can just look at it. Leave that alone now. All right. The other thing is then this sense of community. That's people want to belong. That's one of the problems that people are saying, oh, this can't work because people don't feel like they belong. But you can create that. How do you do that? One of them is that you should have some kind of um, time, some space where people can talk. Just like how they would talk around the coffee machine or talk in the lunchroom or talk in the corridor. Set up that virtually, yeah, so that people can just line, they can just chat about things, yeah. And I have a church brother that is amazing in terms of interactivity. During COVID, I mean, we were connected. I mean, we come up with all sorts of games, you know, whatever. And we had competition between women, competition between teams, all sorts of things. Yeah. I don't know if you play dominoes, if you Sudoku, you know, whatever it is. But you could have competition. That's what I'm suggesting, that a competitive environment heads to bond. So it's not boring. But that's what I would suggest, that you go to those kinds of things. Have creative people who can find online engaging games. Another set of people now are into the language learning and, you know, what it is that we're doing. And of course, you're doing it together. But it's like going to the gym together. That's basically what you want to do. Right? And of course, celebrate the successes. Every little thing that happens. Say, hey, send a note. Or, you know, full of emojis. Yeah, still getting around, head around these emojis. But anyway, take up a lot of your space. So remember now that in the same way that you're going to, in a face-to-face environment, um, have to do team building, you also want to do virtual team building. You know, again, we mentioned the online games. You could have the virtual, you know, coffee breaks, challenges for teams. You know, break up people into teams so that they are working together, and help them then to create strong bonds. Strong bonds. So that's part of what it is. Communication. Come right down at the heart. If you want to look at challenges in organization, communication is it. And I'm suggesting that you use our discerning model of communication and leadership. What does that model involve? One of them, go back again, is that have some means of identifying the behavioral styles of individuals. Basically, that is their user manual. Yeah, some kind of foolish, but that's basically the idea. How do I get best results from Trevor? That's it. Get some assessment. But in a sense, though, um, it's not just from a recruitment or from a leadership point of view. Mary and Joan and Ivan, all of these people also need to have a sense of where Trevor is coming from. You know, how do I want to interact? Yeah, what kinds of things you can say to me and how you can say it, and etc. So we all have some understanding. So it is important to have assessments done and share it with the team. So you have team maps and you have, you know, some bullet points. You're not going to expose everything if you don't want to. Although the assessments are really not pointing out negatives, it's just saying what your preferences are. How do you like your coffee? You want it with 2 sugars, or cream, or just black? That's basically what behavioral assessments are. Right? So when we're serving you coffee, you get it the way that you want it. So you do the assessments, have team information that you can share. The other critical thing, though, because we have millions of people with disc assessments right now, for example, that don't have a clue. They don't know what it means. All they know is that they got this thing and it says that I am D or I, but what that really means. You need to have some training around it. We call what we do teaching the language of behaviors. Yes. At some point in time, we're talking about reading people for success. It's not really people, you're reading their behaviors. Yeah. Or you can talk to people, you know, from inside your shoe. Basically, it is a sense of what does it mean when an individual has a preference for this or for that? How do I communicate from my style so that it lands well with them? That is critical. That information is what it is. The assessments are, I suppose, useful in a sense, but what it is that if people don't know how to use it, what does it mean? So that training is important, and it can be done in as little as a day, where we go through the four major styles, talk about it, how to interact, what what they like, what they don't like, what is the motivation. All of those kinds of things are done, but in a fun way. So people laugh at my style, people laugh at your style, etc. Because we know it's just like clothes. The last meeting, I think I had on a purple shirt. No, I may have on a blue shirt. That's basically what it is. But I'm the same person, but I can change my behavior just the same way that I'm changing my shirt. It's behavior, not personality. Personality includes behavior, includes my gender, includes culture, all sorts of things. All I'm saying is your behavior, which is your actions, things that you do, say, etc. That can be changed. All right. So the other thing would be to see the kind of fit that the individual is with the work environment. What is it that is this person suitable for remote work? Is it suitable for the role that they are doing? And then having got all of that information, the leadership now needs to take that and make the best of it so that they can have a high performing team. That's basically what it is. And we can guide you. Why am I insisting that we do this behavioral DNA assessment, the granular type, in that it will help you again? We talk about receiving information. We need to know that one side does not fit all. So, how we give information, how we give feedback. Advice, you ever give somebody advice and it bounce back badly, even though you had the best intentions? Yeah, sometimes we need to understand when and how to give advice. Yes. Also, what about conflict? Can we prevent conflict by understanding each other and seeing where this is going to cause a problem? And how do we actually manage the conflict once it has started? And are we really willing to flex our style? Or is it going to be one style? We just go work with everybody and say, boy, you better like me because this is who I am. Or are we prepared to say, no, when I'm speaking to so and so, I need to adjust? Those are questions that we have to ask if we want to maintain or pursue synergy in our teams. Yeah. All right. So let us talk about the leaders now, because the leaders is what will make it happen. So if you're leading a team in a virtual environment, a remote work situation, um, to me, your communication needs to be clear and concise. You don't have a time for the person to come back and say, well, explain this again to me. I didn't hear it properly. No, try and see if you can. And by the way, here's an opportunity to send out messages. Yes, I hear you. Challenge. Send out messages in the four styles. Yes, the message you send to me might be differently nuanced from the message you sent to Calvin or to Ivan or to Susan, so that we actually get it and hear it in a different kind of way. And you regularly share updates, expectations. That's the key again. And the goals, what it is that you expect from the team. And to me, um, don't go too heavy on the video calls, please. Right? Asynchronous, right? Please give me a chance to just go to the thing when I'm ready to go to it and I have the time to really um, understand it and respond appropriately to it. Please don't call me to a meeting every now and then. Come on camera, so take off this, t-shirt, put on a proper shirt, comb here. But just give me a break, please. And of course, as leader, you will always be open to feedback. So, first, let me just quickly deal with this. Let me just say something to you. If you have to be over my shoulder because you think that I am watching Netflix and not doing the work, maybe the remote work thing is not for us. Yes? So, I just suggest that we have to be careful then that we're not into the micromanagement to watch and see. We have software that you can look at how many strokes and what it is, whether the person is working in a particular environment. We're trying to sell that. The only problem with it is that you have to actually install it on each machine. It's still available. So if you have people that are in a low trust environment and want to talk to me, but do you really want to do that? I would suggest that if you're going to get high performance, there has to be a level of trust. You have to give some autonomy to people. and just trust the results. Just look for the output. That's where your focus should be as a leader, is to look at what is the output, the quality of the output. Don't worry about the hours. Don't worry about the hours. Deliver this. You have delivered it. High five. You'll be there. That's what I'm suggesting. But create that kind of environment. All right. So yeah, the other thing is the vibes, camaraderie. Yeah, that's beautiful because that helps people to feel a part of the team. Yeah. So saying it again, schedule video meetings. Yes, we want to discuss that, but don't overdo it. And the meetings can be kind of um, thread. It doesn't have to be all of you in place one time. Right? So create the vibes, make sure that people feel comfortable, but also celebrate their achievements. Make sure you treat them like professionals. Trust, expect them to deliver. Right? So that's it. They're going to be engaged and feel comfortable. So yeah, you're going to say, but if I am not over them, if I'm not checking in regularly, etc. What if I end up with a shock at the end of the quarter that we're not getting our results? Right. My answer to that is your job, somehow or another, is to find item two, right? Find some tracking mechanism so that you're not waiting until the end of the quarter to find out whether we are off track. Focus on the quality of the output versus the hours at the keyboard. Find ways that I can easily see for myself, not only the team leader, whether I'm on track or not. That's where some dashboards, invest time in that kind of thing, where you have dashboards where easily we can see whether we are on track. And if the team is a unit that achieves certain results, we can see which side is falling apart, falling behind, all of that. Key, that is the key. That's where we need to use the technology to find dashboards that are meaningful, that people can quickly and readily see whether they are on track or not. That to me is there. The other big responsibility that you have is to be a resource. Quickly. Have a problem? Yes, you are there. You can find answers. And if we're stuck for some reason, that's your job. Find answers. All right. So what are the key takeaways here? Basically, it's possible for virtual teams to be high performing, to have powerful, wonderful team dynamics. Um, but it requires enablers. And I'm suggesting that one of the enablers is KYC, know your customer, know your internal customer, know your colleague well, get granular information on them as to how they want to function, how they want to interact, how they want to receive, give information, how they want to get feedback. Critical. Put that in a team environment so the team members understand right up front how to communicate with each other better. So that's the first. And then, of course, you want to apply the discerning model, which talks about not only then using this information that we have got from the behavioral diagnostics, but telling people what it means, how to use it. How do I communicate from my style in order to get best results? How do I interact with others in order to get best results? That learning, that training is critical. All right. And of course, we are suggesting that not everybody functions equally well in a remote or virtual environment. Do some assessments to find out where they are. So those are the key takeaways. What are the next steps? I would suggest that you have a discourse about the possibility, whether you are now in a remote environment or not, it might be possible. COVID just showed us that. So have the discourse. And the easiest way to do that is to share the link to this live cast to say, hey, this is of this discussion. What do you think about it? Again, I'm putting it out there that I'm offering to share this model that I've been talking about, the discerning model of communication and leadership. Send me an email, info@successwithpeople.org, and I will come and I will do a virtual webinar with you, no cost, all right, so you can have more interaction. Or you can just send me a WhatsApp, 876-535-6677. And by the way, these live casts If you go to YouTube, at Success with People um, Academy, you will find these live classes. Like to think that they have good stuff. I've got some very good feedback. Who are we? Um, we are part of the InfoServe group, Success with People Academy is our lead brand in terms of people development. We have a whole technology side where we create custom technology solutions as well. We are SHRM recertification providers. What does that mean? That when we provide certification, you can use those credits for SHRM CP or SHRM SCP recertification. Basically, what it means is that we function at internationally approved standards. All right? So we deploy the discerning model of communication and leadership and some other frameworks to enhance productivity at an individual, team, or organizational level. And yes, we're proud to be franchise holders for the granular behavioral DNA assessments from Extended Disc on the Revolutionary Things platform. Let's have a conversation. Cause reach out to me, either info@successwithpeople.org or WhatsApp 876-535-6677. See you next week. Thanks for your time.